Hello Internet family, Dan here from DansTube.TV, and today we are checking out the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. What a name. Right now we are filming on the Blackmagic and we're using the internal microphone, so how does the audio sound? Let us know in the comments below. And behind the camera is Jamie Darcy, so check out his stuff below. Everything that we shot in the day was filmed in 4K ProRes high quality, and the clip that you saw at the beginning, the intro clip, that was unedited, so I didn't play around with that, so that's how the image looks without me cropping it, without me playing around with the colors or anything like that. That was just 4K ProRes high quality, and then I've downscaled it to 1080p to then upload it to YouTube. I will also have a link below to check this out on Amazon if you want to pick it up as well. But these are basically my first impressions on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. And first things first, this is not a pocket camera. I honestly don't know why they called it that. This camera is actually quite large, especially with that 5-inch touchscreen LCD on the back there. This camera is quite large, and especially if you set it up with a rig like we had on the day, or if you have, you know, a microphone or a large lens on it, this becomes quite a large camera. But I really do like the build quality of this. The buttons feel fantastic, the design is sturdy and extremely well constructed, and it just feels really nice in the hand. And I was also blown away with that 5-inch display on the back. It's beautiful, it honestly looks amazing, and the interface is intuitive and easy to navigate through, and everything is touchscreen enabled, so it's easy to just navigate through things and find exactly what you want through the menus. You'll notice in the top left that I will be jumping between ungraded and graded footage, so I'm not going to do a ridiculously in-depth grading on this image here because we actually filmed it with a nice amount of color and it wasn't the flattest image possible, but you can see that it is still a very flat image with a lot of information to play around with. Now, we filmed this with so much information that it was 150 gigabytes for 40 files. And it was ridiculously large. It took a long time to copy onto my computer, but my friend has the SSD set up, so he can just disconnect it from his camera and then plug it straight into the computer and then edit from that SSD. So in that situation, it's perfect and you really don't have to worry too much about the file size. One of the biggest downfalls of this camera is the battery life. You really don't get long out of the standard batteries. You probably get about 40 minutes of battery life if you're lucky. Now, the rig that my friend Jamie had set up, he had a large battery on top and he gets a few hours of film time from that, so there definitely are rigs that you can get and definitely alternatives if you want to improve the battery life, but straight off the bat, if you get the camera with the basic battery, you're not going to be overly impressed with the battery life you're going to get. The Pocket Cinema 4K camera can also shoot 4K 60 frames per second and up to a massive 120 frames per second for the windowed HD version, and from what we saw, we were very impressed with the overall performance of the camera when it came to video, and video was basically all we tested. I didn't even play around with the photo option on there, but overall the video was really nice. Stabilization wasn't fantastic on the camera. The lens that we had actually had some sort of stabilization, which improved it slightly, but overall you kind of do want to have this camera fixed to something or have some sort of gimbal or Steadicam system set up here. Otherwise, just have it set up for a studio, which it's kind of intended for that. Even though it's marketed to literally everyone, if you read their page, it will say that it's marketed to vloggers, as well as corporate video makers, and just every sort of filmmaker available. So they're really trying to pick everyone up on this camera here. And the other thing that really impressed me was just the variety of different ports that are available for the user. So you have an SD card slot, you have a CFast slot, you also have a USB-C if you want to plug in an SSD or hard drive or whatever else, and then you have the XLR on the other side if you want to plug in an XLR microphone, and a few other ports just all over the place. So you're going to be spoilt for choice here. There's so much going on with the port system, and the interface is really easy to navigate through and find what you're looking for, like I mentioned before. So they do really complement each other really well. The hardware and the software do work nicely together. One thing to mention though, we did notice that it overheated at one point. I don't know if that was something to do with the battery or the fact that we had it just set up and we didn't realize it was recording while we were filming something else. and it actually overheated and we had to wait a while for it to cool down. Now, I don't know if that is a common issue for people out there, but that's just something to keep in mind. Anyway, that is kind of the end of my first impressions. I'm really impressed with the camera overall. I think it's a fantastic camera. Another thing to mention is I love how much information is on the screen. Because it's such a large screen, you basically get everything that's going on, and it's presented beautifully. So you can see everything that's happening on the screen. You get ISO, white balance, you get a time code, you get the histogram, you get your microphone. Everything is just all set up on the screen, and it's nicely tucked away. So I found that really, really well done by Blackmagic, and overall I do love the camera. I think the image quality is fantastic. Everything seems to run smoothly and just works. It does exactly what you want it to. So I think this is the perfect kit right now. It's a really affordable kit for anyone to pick up, and it just gives everyone that film quality grade in a camera that's relatively affordable and also quite versatile with its 4/3 sensor. Now, I was actually able to use my Gh4 lens that I have, which is just a micro 4/3 lens, and it worked perfectly fine on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K, which is amazing because it's actually a 4/3 system, so it's larger than micro 4/3. But it worked fine. The only thing I noticed was a little bit of vignetting around the outside, but overall the lens performed perfectly fine, and this is a viable option if I was to pick up the camera. I could definitely use the lens that I have and obviously pick up additional ones in the future. This is a really versatile camera that works well for a lot of different people in different subsets of the industry for film. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know if you've got one of these and what your opinions are. And make sure to subscribe for more great content on the channel. So thank you all, and peace out.